Welcome back. One of the best parts about having a YouTube channel and teaching meditation is that I get these wonderful confirmations like the one I'm going to share with you today, which is Hakalau from a Zen perspective. I think it's a beautiful addition and a wonderful way to see how we are getting into the right brain, and because we're doing that, we are losing fixation. So very, very beautiful. Want to share that with you today and take our practice of Hakalau, take our practice of getting into the right brain to the next level. So let's get into it. So this actually comes from a comment on one of my Hakalau videos. Aaron says, "Hey Forrest, first I want to say I like all your videos and find them very helpful. Second, I thought you would be interested to know this is also a technique taught by Rinzai Zen. Although it still seems to be rare in Zen, I was taught this by Meido Moore Roshi and his authorized students of Korinji Monastery in Wisconsin. He also writes about it in his first book, using the same finger exercises to expand peripheral vision as you do. We were taught to maintain that vision throughout the day through chores, exercises, and everything." Isn't that amazing? I love this kind of confirmation when you see a practice across disciplines. Now this is wonderfully very specific. They were doing it exactly the way that I teach. So very quickly, if you're not familiar with the Hakalau, it's one of the cornerstones of what I teach because it is helping us get very, very quickly and easily into the right brain. This is very, very important for the yogi, especially when you are interested in the non-dual state. When you want to get into a samadhi, you have to know about the right brain and the easiest, quickest, fastest way to get there. And the practice of Hakalau allows for that. And if you keep going on and expanding, and you do all of the yoga, and you lower your idol, and you keep going back into expansion, you can take it all the way into a samadhi, into a non-dual experience. It is possible. I've done it. It works very well, especially when you start combining it with bliss. But back to the Hakalau. So how do you do it, Forrest? Well, go ahead and look straight ahead. Find one point on the wall in front of you and put your attention right on that one dot, but also become aware of everything which is in your peripheral vision. So I'm maintaining my focus, and yet I'm opening up my awareness. I'm becoming aware of everything on the sides. And I'm going to open up my hands as far as I can and see if I can see my fingers, right? So I'm doing this, right? I'm going to do it where you can see. I'm opening up. I look at that one point slightly above eye level, and I open up my peripheral vision. And that will dilate my eyes. Usually people don't know how to dilate your eyes, but when you practice this exercise over and over again, I will say, go ahead and close your eyes and then dilate your eyes. Keep that feeling in a closed eye meditation. It becomes very, very powerful. So you can practice this throughout the day. And the amazing thing is you want to check that it's actually doing something. So think about something momentarily that maybe you're a little bit frustrated about. Something in your life that you really want, but you can't quite get it. Think about that thing momentarily, okay? Hold it in your heart, that thing, whatever it is, and now go into Hakalau. Pick one point, open up your peripheral vision. And how did it change? Did the feeling change? Did it shift? The amazing thing when we go into Hakalau, when we go into our peripheral vision, it is a neurological driver for the right brain. It pushes us very effectively into the right hippocampus, which is spatial perception. And when that happens, anything that we were holding on to, that we were fixated on, we let go of. We become bigger. We begin to expand. We begin to surrender. We begin to let go. It's a very, very big deal. And when you have a meditation, let's say you're in meditation, you're doing the heart rate variability resonance, it's going well, but you just have a lot on your mind. And so the left brain is chattering away and chattering away. And even though you're going into a low idle state, there's so much on your mind lately. You've been worried about something. It's still chattering away at a consistent rate. We can continue to go into a lower and lower idle, which will help this to drown away. But we can also stop it right away. Open your eyes in your meditation, pick one point, go into your peripheral vision. And when you really expand, when you really hold the periphery, notice how all of your thoughts stop. All of the chatter of your mind will momentarily stop while you are perfectly holding your periphery. It's pushing you into the right brain, away from the chatter of the left brain. And so it is extremely powerful. And the kahuna of Hawaii would walk around their whole entire day in this state, constantly going into the part of the brain which was responsible for the non-dual state. Not that the kahuna were necessarily going into the non-dual state. I'm not sure that all of them took it that deep. But when you exercise this part of your brain, day after day after day, it becomes more and more powerful, and that's what we want. So I went ahead and I bought the Rinzai Way of Zen, a guide to practice. I love the picture on the front. I love it already. I think it's full of wonderful insights. And this is what I found. Practice instructions, spreading out the vision. Number 1, sitting or standing, gaze straight ahead and spread out your vision so that you are watching the entire room at once, rather than staring at whatever point across the room your gaze actually strikes. Number 2, extend your arms behind your head where you cannot see them and raise your index fingers to eye level. Slowly bring the arms forward until the fingers appear in your peripheral field. Stop at the point where you can just see both fingers at the same time on the very edges of your vision. Stretch your vision out to simultaneously encompass both fingers and the entire visual field between them. 3. Now drop your arms and maintain the expansive gaze, stretching your awareness to the limits of the peripheral field. 4. Finally allow the angle of your gaze to drop to 45 degrees, but maintain the expansive vision you cultivated. You are not staring at one thing. You are softly seeing everything. And this. Practice instructions for releasing fixation. Sitting or lying in any comfortable position. Bring your attention to your various senses and their objects. Take a few moments to examine, for example, the sensation of seeing with the eyes, noticing what they currently sense. Objects, colors, light and darkness. The sensation of hearing with the ears, noticing what sounds are heard, and so on. Do this for all the senses in turn: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. Finally, do so for the mind. Examine how your mind is aware of its own movement, such as thoughts arising and passing away. As you bring your attention to each of your senses in turn, try to feel the degree to which you are tightly grasping or fixated upon what they perceive. Are you constantly attracted to what the eyes see, for example, and compulsively following after those sights? Is your awareness constantly flowing after mental movements, impressions, and thoughts, chaining them together into wandering dialogue? With some examination, you may see that you are tightly fixated upon activity of your senses and that your mind stops upon or pursues various phenomena as they arise one after another. Now, for one of your senses, practice releasing this rigid fixation. For example, bringing your attention to the act of seeing. Try to relax your fixation on the visual stimulus without suppressing or ignoring it. In other words, let your eyes see, but without following after sights obsessively. as if your mind was reaching out through the eyes, attempting to touch what is seen. Remaining present and relaxed, just let visual activity occur, as it does without any attempt to follow, suppress, ignore, or manipulate it. If you can do this, you will experience that you are still aware of what the eyes perceive, since obviously they continue functioning as sense organs, but you will feel slightly detached and clear, no longer as fascinated or disturbed by the objects seen. The feeling will be as if you had been tightly pulling on a rope attached to something, but have now let it go slack and relax in your hands. You are still connected to the sense of seeing, but are no longer pulling upon it with a grasping tension. Sights simply come and go without your chasing after them. Now, try doing this for each sense in turn. Practice letting your body feel through the sense of touch, but without judging or chasing after the sensations. Let your ears hear whatever sounds strike them effortlessly and without judging, analyzing, or following after the sounds. Do the same with the senses of smell and taste. Take a sip of water or bite of food, for example, and allow the sensations of taste to come and go without overly involving yourself with them or judging them. Finally, practice this with the mind, becoming aware of thoughts and other mental objects as they arise. Do not engage with, judge, worry, or conceptualize about them at all. Let the rope of your fixated attention go slack and allow mental activity to arise and pass away of its own accord without stopping upon, chasing after, trying to control, or suppress any of it. When you have been able to experience releasing each sense, including the mind, now practice doing so with all of them at once. That is, let all the ropes go slack simultaneously. Rest in the feeling of a relaxed, expansive awareness that results free from fixation or stopping upon any object of the senses. As a final step, try to bring this relaxed, non-abiding quality into your daily activities. Walk, work, eat, and so on with awareness, noticing when your awareness stops upon it or chases after some object of the senses. When you notice this, just release that tension and return to a more centered, free-flowing awareness. This exercise, though seemingly simple, is truly useful. Isn't that beautiful? Start with your sight. Do Hakalau with your sight. Go into your peripheral vision. We're no longer fixated with only the left brain. We are opening ourselves up, taking everything in at once. All of the periphery is open to us. The eyes dilate. They let everything in. Now take in all of the sounds. Take in all of the sounds. Hear all of them. Hold all of them at once. Take in the sights and the sounds all at once. Everything that you hear, everything that you feel inside of the body, take it all in. The feeling of your feet, the feeling of your legs, the feeling of your torso, the feeling of your chest and your arms and your head. Take in everything that you see, everything that you hear, everything that you feel, all at once. Take in all of the tastes that you have in your mouth, all of the smells that you perceive. Pull them all into yourself. Hold all of it at once. Isn't it beautiful? When you take it all in and you transfer that Hakalau practice to everything that you are doing, and you live a little bit of your life like this every single day, wonderful things can happen. Beautiful insights will come to you. The free flow between the left and the right brain will begin, and you may have profound downloads that happen to you. And your meditations, when you actually sit still and enter into the low idle state, this state will come to you even more profoundly, more deeply, and more wonderful things will happen. And most beautifully, it will all take place without your grasping for it. It will all flow easily I was doing this once in a Walmart, and it was very busy. It was very busy. There were people all around me. It wasn't quiet at all. It was very visually stimulating. There were all kinds of colors of ads in front of me, and I just started taking it all in. I took in all of the sights, all of the sounds that were all around me, very, very loud and busy. All of the people dancing in front of me in a busy Walmart. And suddenly, my entire perception began to shift, and the packages of fruit pie that were on the stand in front of me in the checkout lane began to breathe with me. You see, our senses pick up a lot more than what we are aware of. We have a reticular activating system, our subconscious, that weeds out the information it doesn't think we need. But when you enter into a practice like this, some of those gears begin to slip a little bit, and you get extra information. And I started to breathe with the pies. The pies were expanding and contracting with my breath as I was standing in line. And that's some of the slipping of the gears of perception. I had a yogi tell me he was on a street, and suddenly he had a case, I told him, of divine hearing, which is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. But he was on this side of the street. It was a very busy street in downtown Orange County, and there was a woman on the other side of the street talking to her friend. And he should not have been able to hear her, but he heard her clearly as if she was standing right next to him. He shouldn't have been able to, because there was so much traffic and so much noise. He should not have been physically capable of hearing her, but he did, because of the divine hearing. And normally, things which are that far away, our subconscious says, you don't need that information. I'm going to prioritize the information which is right in front of you. But as we enter deeply into these practices, some of those gears in the subconscious will sometimes begin to slip, and we'll have these incredible experiences like divine hearing, or watching the pies breathe with your breath in front of you in the line at Walmart. But the most amazing thing about this practice is it's easing your access into the right brain, into the very part of your brain which is necessary for the non-dual state. So growing this part of your brain, using expansion, using Hakalau, taking everything in over and over again, will train your brain, will train your access to the deep brain, to the right hippocampus, to the part of your brain that connects you to the higher self. It's amazing, it's profound. If you would like to study Hakalau in Zen, I have a link down below for this wonderful book. Thank you so much to Aaron for pointing this out. It's a wonderful confirmation. And I love hearing how other traditions are using these tools and using them well. I hope that you love this. If you do, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you.